You've heard the old saying, the show must go on? Not when they kill the lead actress. Head out to the Colossus Casino. It's the one that stages Broadway-style musicals. Stay alert. A young woman's life has been taken away from her. We can't give it back, but we can find the truth.
I'm Nick Stokes. Hope you're as good as I've heard, because we can stand to wrap this up fast. An event like this is the wrong kind of showstopper for all concerned. Let's go see where reality messed up the fantasy. Makeup appears to have been applied a little thicker here. What do you think? Whoa, some deep bruising peeking through that makeup. She had something to hide. I'm Nick Stokes with the Crime Lab, and this is my assistant. Are you with the production?
Yes, I'm an actress here, Heather Colby. I don't even know to think, let alone to say. An awful thing. Terrible. Horrible.
Miss Colby, we know this is difficult for you and everyone here, but we're sure you'd like to help. And you can do that by answering a few questions.
This was our tech rehearsal. Standard for any production, but particularly important for one like ours. You know, with so many special effects, like the shooting scene.
Hang in there, Miss Colby. Now, could you walk us through it?
I really don't have all that much to tell you. First, we had the argument, and then, of course, I shot Meryl and began covering my tracks.
Whoa, Miss Colby, was that just a confession? If you have something important to share, you'll need to know your rights.
My rights? Oh, I can see how that sounded. I'm sorry. By covering my tracks, I mean, what I meant, that's the song title. Song I sing in the show right after that effects scene. And that's just what I did. That's how it's scripted. Meryl at her mark, I walk on stage, shoot her, and begin to sing. But this time at the end of the scene, Meryl just, she never got up. That had nothing to do with me. I was shooting a blank. That horrible squib must have exploded. She complained about them before, said she'd been burned, but this? I never heard of a squib killing anybody before. We were old friends. Kind of veterans of the wars, you know? All the way back to drama school in New York. And even then, it was obvious she was gonna make it. She had that combination of charisma and ambition that marks a real star. We worked together often, not a team so much as actors whose on-stage chemistry gelled so well that when the right roles came along, we got cast. Oh, I know, big talk, right? If we were such hot stuff, why were we still paying our dues in dinner theaters and regional productions? You got a right to say that about me, but not Meryl. She was nominated for a supporting Tony on Broadway just last season. And she's a star here in Vegas. She was a hometown girl, you know? And this production, she was great. Finally, the perfect part. And the buzz? People from both coasts were coming in for the premiere. I just know. I know. This would have done it for her. But then I guess this production was it for her, wasn't it? No, just the two of us. And Gus, the stage manager. He's also the technical director, and he insists pyrotechnic effects be rehearsed with the theater cleared of only himself and the actors. Safety's a big issue, and I guess you can see why. Well, he's around. His job sort of takes him here, there, and everywhere. I think the last time I saw him, he was heading for the prop room. Follow the signs backstage. On my mark. It's still on the stage. Even during the run, we keep them there. Again, because of the safety issues. And of course, Meryl was at her mark, standing in front of me, right where she wound up.
That's all we need right now. Hammer, screwdrivers, etc. Nicely organized. Even a little anal retentive about it. Tools traced in pencil so he knows where to put them, which tells us one tool is missing. Small, rectangular. Shots of Meryl, maybe during recent performances. These aren't publicity pics, though. Looks like candids. Sprinter mock cross trainers, size 10. Bit of water here.
What's up? That print has been scanned into the computer for you. That DNA is scanned and in the computer already, amplified and graphed. Water. Best I can do you is profile it chemically and let the computer help you find the source. Hey, Meryl Regis. Ever see her perform? She would have made it, I tell you. Can I keep these?
I don't want them pasted in your scrapbook, Craig. I was thinking more like scan them into the image enhancement equipment, please.
I scanned the shoe print into the computer. This is what's known as an unfired blank round, 22 caliber. This is a squib with a sound detector. Firing the prop gun causes the sound sensor to detonate the squib, but this one also seems to have a wireless receiver. For what purpose I can't tell you. Would seem redundant. Hey, this is an amateur night, sophisticated setup. The blast plate was damaged, but that's not unusual. Explosive powder residue levels were consistent with a proper load. Arvik must have felt a real kick when this baby went off, and no signs of tampering either.
Meryl had a shiner when we found her. Let's take a closer look and see if she had it before she died, when this photo was taken. Hey, she did have that black eye before she was murdered. Finally getting somewhere. This candid is a real-life argument, not something from the show. Gus could have been stalking Meryl. Not sure if we've got a match in this group. Not sure if we've got a match in this group. So, the water from the prop room came from the pipes in the city's commercial water supply system. Since the 1950s, Vegas has had a dual water system. Regular water supply is drinkable, servicing the general population, but secondary treated wastewater, not drinkable, is reclaimed for commercial uses, often with a higher concentration of these elements. No surprise if the theater sprinkler system is hooked into this funkier water supply.
What's up?
Ought to be possible. Let's check the IP traffic through the cafe's node and look up logins. Uh-huh. C. Regis logged in. Spent about 15 minutes online, then logged off. That leaves a little unaccounted for time. Not much, though.
No problem. We'll bring the body right in. A single bullet entered the victim's chest, breaking apart as it struck the sternum. Fragments going just deep enough to pierce the aorta. Using a basic body temperature or algor mortis analysis, I've got the time of death pegged at around time of the rehearsal. No great revelations for you, I'm afraid. Straightforward stuff. Actually, yes, several metal fragments, presumably from a bullet. They're all yours. I don't need them anymore, and neither does the Vic. Not that she ever did. Whew, been a wild night, so I'm not as far with Ms. Regis as I'd like to be. Frankly, I haven't even cleaned and prepped her. Anything else turns up, you'll be the first. Meantime, feel free to check the body over. I've got plenty to do. Be my guest.
Yeah? What do you need, guys? Not yet. Maybe try finding more evidence linking the suspect to the crime scene. A stronger link between the suspect and the crime scene might get you closer to that warrant. Your case file tells me that you could use a stronger link between this suspect and the crime scene.
hardly.
Yes. Small caliber bullet broken apart. If you don't tell Grissom, I'll make an educated guess. 22.
Tiny bite-type marks. Clamping tool, possibly.
I've done everything I can think of with that. Small caliber bullet broken apart. If you don't tell Grissom, I'll make an educated guess. 22. These marks suggest a clamping tool. I may be able to match them to the right tool if you can bring it to me for comparison. Can't think of much more to tell you about that.
Need something?
casing in the chamber. Is it possible that an actual bullet was fired out of this gun? Got some residual powder in the barrel here.
Hey. Just because it's a prop gun doesn't mean a little item like this can't fire real bullets. Can't confirm whether a bullet has been fired recently from this prop or not, but I can tell you it's a .22 caliber.
When blanks are readied for a theatrical application, the bullet is removed from the cartridge, and a flash-producing additive is put in its place, like magnesium powder. Then the end is crimped.
Unsurprising discovery number 1. Substance you found is gunpowder mixed with magnesium powder. Unsurprising discovery number 2. Traces of plugging material. Gun you found was likely loaded with a blank and was fired recently.
What's up?
I already told you so. It's part of the scene. You know how hard this is for me? Please.
Really killing her wasn't part of any scene. That's what we're asking, Heather.
She was my friend. Of course I didn't kill her.
I can understand you're upset, but understand what we're thinking. You were holding the gun, and the bullet fragments from Meryl's body matched the gun's caliber. Could that weapon have been loaded with something other than a blank?
I had nothing to do with loading it. I suppose it's possible. But no, even if someone else traded a live round for my blank, part of our stage training is to aim a weapon with a blank away from the other actor. It's an illusion. From the audience, you can't tell.
That sounds reasonable, Miss Colby. But you should know we can track the angle that a bullet enters a body, so it wouldn't do any good to...
Check it all you like. Upside down and sideways. Just leave me alone. Why are you harassing the victim's best friend? Are you that desperate for a suspect? I had to watch someone I loved die. Isn't that enough?
Let's see, 9mm, 308, 338. Here we go, 22 caliber. Let's grab this one.
Yes. Dummy round. Just like a regular round, but a prop without gunpowder. Used for all kinds of stage work, except for actually shooting.
So, we've got prop bullets matching the caliber of bullet the doc recovered from the body. However, dummy bullets lack an explosive charge, but if a bullet was already in the chamber, the force of the blank round would have fired it out.
Yeah? What do you need, guys?
Hey,
Need something?
yes.
What's up?
Your case file tells me that you could use a stronger link between this suspect and the crime scene. Not yet. Maybe try finding more evidence linking the suspect to the crime scene. A stronger link between the suspect and the crime scene might get you closer to that warrant.
Something you want? Be my guest.
What's up? Hey,
Something you want?
Yeah? What do you need, guys? Your case file tells me that you could use a stronger link between this suspect and the crime scene. A stronger link between the suspect and the crime scene might get you closer to that warrant.
Yes?
Be my guest.
We need to determine from the wound and internal tissue damage the trajectory of the fatal bullet. Try using a similar tool. Using microsil to cast a wound, huh? I remember another newbie doing that. Unconventional, but whatever works. We should be able to get a trajectory from the mold and show that the shot either came from Heather's gun or didn't.
Hey. Looks like Heather Colby isn't the only one shooting blanks. You need a new suspect, guys. The cast shows the entry wound pointing downward from the body at a 30-degree angle, and a direct shot from the front.
Hey, ruling people out is a start, and this sure lends credibility to Heather's story. Let's set up a trajectory dummy at the theater. That way, we'll really know where the shot came from. This dummy will help us trace the bullet's trajectory. We know it was pointing down at about a 30-degree angle. Since actors are trained to face slightly toward the audience, the angle on the pointers would seem about right. Let's switch on Mr. Laser and see if he's pointing anywhere near Heather's mark. Let's see where it points to.
Be my guest.
Hey.
Not quite a match. Always check very closely for subtle details between them. Interpreting evidence isn't guesswork, you know. You don't quite have a match there. Little details make all the difference when you're doing a comparison. When you're sure, then ask me for a confirmation. Can't be positive, but I think there's a match in one of these results. Not quite a match. Always check very closely for subtle details between them. Interpreting evidence isn't guesswork, you know. You should be sure you've got a match before you ask me for confirmation. Those two aren't a match. Make sure you look very carefully for tiny details. Not quite a match. Always check very closely for subtle details between them. Interpreting evidence isn't guesswork, you know. You should be sure you've got a match before you ask me for confirmation. Those two aren't a match. Make sure you look very carefully for tiny details. The stage manager and pyrotechnician is Gus Harrison. During performances, he handled the backup detonator in the orchestra pit. Plus, he's got a criminal history. Of course, none of this proves he was in the pit at the time of the killing. You don't quite have a match there. Little details make all the difference when you're doing a comparison. When you're sure, then ask me for a confirmation.
What's up?
So he cleared the theater, had access to the orchestra pit, which is where we now think the shot came from. Plus he's got a criminal record and is the guy in charge of the pyrotechnics. Oh yeah, let's definitely get to know Gus better.
Mr. Harrison, we're with the crime lab. Can we have a word with you?
Sure, of course. Wondered when you CSIs would get around to me. Call me Gus, though. That's what my friends call me. Want to help any way I can. Doesn't do much for my rep, but fatality on my watch.
We'll keep it Mr. Harrison for now. We try to keep it professional.
Well, directors come and go, actors too. I'm sort of the continuity. The glue, you might say. But in an operation like this, a stage manager has to wear a lot of hats. So I'm also the technical director, in charge of props and pyrotechnics. I'm a believer in doing live effects, kind of things people are used to seeing in the movies, squibs and all. Can't have a sound effect over the sound system. That wouldn't even convince Grandma these days. Great gal. What can I say? She was the closest thing to a local star we have in Vegas, as far as legit theater is concerned. Hollywood and Broadway had been sniffing around. I worked with her before, but I wouldn't say we're friends. Co-workers. Friendly. Sure going to miss her. Well, whose else would there be? I told you, I'm the prop guy. Pyro man. That's a remote detonator. I push the button as a backup. If the gun blasts don't detonate the squib, last thing you want in the middle of a show is to have one of your big scenes go flat because an effect fizzles. I was in the pit with my backup device, watching the stunt go down. Always keep them handy. We just had a photo shoot the day before that rehearsal. Matter of fact, I put some of them dummy bullets in Heather's prop pistol. If the revolver cylinder was empty, it'd show in the stills.
Could one of the dummy bullets have been left in that gun?
Well, I suppose. I mean, I try to be careful, but I'm only one man, and you don't mean... My God, that's horrible. I could have been responsible for this? I mean, accidentally responsible. No, hell no. Even if I did screw up, and I didn't, Heather followed my stage directions and fired away from Merrill, angled to one side. If a real round did accidentally get fired out of that thing, it wouldn't have struck Merrill anyway.
You seem sure of that.
Damn sure, for 3 reasons. First, I saw the stunt go down. I saw Heather fire at an angle. Second, I count the bullets I use, always. And with that photo shoot, I clearly remember doing that, both before and after. And finally, I always disassemble, clean, and oil the prop weapons after they've been used. Those are continuity photos. You know, making sure that things are in exactly the same spot next time you see them.
I've heard of that in film work, but never in a live theater performance.
Oh, it's common enough. When we hustle the props around, we've got to track them, scene to scene. Photos make a handy crib sheet.
But your continuity photos seem to track Merrill Regis specifically, scene to scene. Almost all of these continuity photos are of her.
Hey, can I help? She was the star of the show. A rifle missing. Hey, that's news to me.
Really? But you're so careful, Mr. Harrison. And yes, it's gone from the rack. Do you recall that specific weapon?
If it's the one I'm thinking of, bolt action rifle, 30 caliber. Telescopic sight on that puppy. We did a show about a sniper killer a while back.
Must have been another musical. You're an expert.
It ain't the right picture. I didn't do any of this crap. Maybe somebody else did. But it's a big theater, and a lot of people have access.
But you keep the prop room locked, don't you? Safety conscious guy like you?
Hey, sometimes it stands open when I'm hauling things around. And stuff could get taken from the stage, too. My inventory, as you already seen, can be a little lax sometimes.
Right. Like the missing rifle from the rack? Gus, we already know from trajectory analysis that the shot came from the orchestra pit.
I'm only in that pit during stunts when performances are underway. And I don't know what happened to that damn rifle. Is this what I get for cooperating? Do I need a lawyer or something?
That's your call, Mr. Harrison. But cooperating with us is a good idea. Maybe you can tell us if you have the tool that's missing from your wall rack.
I can. It's right here. Multi-purpose puppy in my pocket. Take it. Knock yourself out. If I had anything to do with this, I wouldn't be cooperating, right? Right? Hey, she was alive last time I saw her.
You mean from the pit, during the stunt?
No. I mean, after her death scene, I checked on her. I was down in the pit, yes, where I was supposed to be, and she was laying on the stage, just where she was supposed to be. Meryl whispered, kind of irritated like, that she got a bit of a backblast from the squib. I told her I'd fix that for her, before the performance.
Fortunately for you, Mr. Harrison, the squib we analyzed tends to corroborate your story. Meryl's protective plate was damaged, and you couldn't have known about the backblast unless you had really spoken with Meryl after the squib detonated. But we have to follow every thread.
Look, I know you do. I said I'd cooperate, and what have I been doing? So if you don't mind an outside expert asking, if Meryl was flat on the stage when she was shot, what does that do to your trajectory notions?
It calls for another look, back at the theater.
I don't want to play pin the tail on some other poor sucker, but I gotta admit, showbiz, the theater, it's a dog-eat-dog deal. Lots of big egos, lots of insecurity. Crazy. Take Heather, for instance. Right before rehearsal, she had this knockdown drag-out with Meryl. I'm surprised you ain't figured that out yourselves already. Evidence guys like you?
You're still on our list of suspects, Mr. Harrison.
Yeah, I can live with that. As long as you promise to cross off my name when you realize I had nothing to do with this. Listen, I hold on to this job by being discreet. But yeah, that's Heather and Meryl going at it. Kind of a lover's quarrel, if you get my drift. Stirring an angry husband and you've got an instant soap opera. But that's all you get on that from me. Go to the sources if you want more.
Heather and Clayton have probably left the theater by now. We could try to track them down at their homes. Nothing for you right now, partner. We need to check out Gus's story. If Meryl was laying on stage, playing dead at the time she was shot, our trajectory theory is out of whack. Let's see where it points to. Now we got it. With the sloping angle of the wound, if Meryl was laying on stage when she was shot, it would have come from that box seat. Looks like a shoe print, loafer, or maybe dress shoes. Interesting print, impressed more towards the instep, suggesting a slight pronation. Try something else. Nothing here. Not the right tool for this. Wrong surface to try dusting. That's not right for this. Water stain, possibly. Something similar. Try using a similar tool. Nothing. Close, but not quite right. Something similar. Faint trace of some powder. Nice catch. You are good.
What's up? Shoe print scanned in the computer. Walk over to the computer and you'll find that shoe print scanned in. Well, at first I thought we had residue from drinking water. See, I found traces of fluoride. Only further tests gave up various levels of copper, cadmium, nickel, and antimony. Water picks up traces of these elements passing through various pipes. You may be able to narrow down the neighborhood of origin with a computer search. Traces of barium, lead, and antimony, main ingredients of that ever-popular favorite, gunshot residue.
So we've narrowed down our killer's perch. Now if we can only narrow in on the killer, and a reason for the killing.
Okay, good news, bad news. This could be the mystery tool from the prop room wall, but it wasn't the tool that made the marks on the bullet fragment from the Vic's wound.
That still doesn't clear Gus, though. Guy always seems to know more than he's saying.